These days, fans of the New York Mets might be feeling a feeling that they've never felt before. They're experiencing an offseason where their team's owner is actually spending money on free agents with seemingly no cap to how high the payroll can get. This holiday season, New York Post sports columnist Ian O'Connor believes Metropolitan fans should be thankful for Steve Cohen. Ian joins me now to discuss. Ian, how are you doing? How's your holiday season going so far?
Oh, all's great, Dexter. I hope the same for you and your family.
Yes, we are well. Thank you so much. And Ian, right now, as an undisputed majority owner, Steve Cohen could pay $421 million or so in payroll and taxes on players for the upcoming season. It appears as though Cohen is not playing around when it comes to spending. Is this a good thing for the Mets?
Yeah, I would think so, Dexter. And I think Mets fans should consider themselves lucky that MLB is not a salary cap sport. So you get the full benefit of Steve Cohen and his net worth of $17.5 billion. And I think after years of really dealing with the opposite of that with the Wilpon approach, where a lot of decisions were made for financial reasons, disconnected from performance on the field, Steve Cohen is the opposite of that. And he's telling Billy Epler and by extension, Buck Showalter, you give me decisions to make. I just want you to make, or options to choose from. I just want you to make the right baseball decision. And it's pretty remarkable to see how far or how high he's willing to go with these numbers. Now, I do think they might make a couple of moves to reduce that number, but to think he's already well over $400 million in taxes, penalties, and of course salaries is something I think a Mets fan does embrace, will embrace, and should be thankful for.
Yeah, definitely. Now, the skeptical fan of the Amazons, they may look at the spending thus far this offseason and say Cohen is playing with monopoly money here, and they might be concerned that his investments may not be wise ones. So how do you view Cohen's roster investments this offseason?
I ran that by somebody close to Steve Cohen yesterday, and that person pointed out if you look at some of the moves, really all of the moves, is there one that you would say is a crazy deal that involved monopoly money? And Justin Verlander won the Cy Young. We all know his age, but last year he won the Cy Young Award and he got a 2-year deal. That's a smart deal. David Robertson for 1 year and Quintana for 2 years. And yeah, you didn't want to stretch Nimmo to 8 years, but you kept him at a reasonable salary of around $20 million for that period of time when the market for center fielders looks weak in the coming season. So it does. And Diaz, of course, 20 million. Yeah, maybe you would prefer 3-4 years for a closer, but he had to be brought back, no question about it. And I think that's a reasonable salary too, based on what he's delivered. So I don't think you see any wild moves here. It's just the totality of it is a crazy number. But again, that's the benefit of Steve Cohen and being the richest owner in Major League Baseball by far. And Mets fans are going to ride that as long as they can.
And they should. Now, Ian, the fact that Mets fans can now say that ownership spends money, it can be viewed as a win, but does any of this matter if Cohen doesn't bring a World Series title to Flushing?
I think it does, Dexter. You want to be competitive and have chances and knock on the door pretty much every year. So obviously, he said he wants to win a championship within 3 to 5 years or he'd be disappointed. And I think this is year 3. So that window is now officially open. But over the next 6, 7, 8 years, you want to see, if you're a Mets fan, sustained success where maybe you go to the NLCS 4 times, go to a couple of World Series and win one. If you get one ring in the next 7 or 8 years, since you haven't won one since 1986, I think Mets fans would be perfectly happy with that.
Yeah, they will. And right now, you know what they're happy with, Ian? All that spending of $421 million, and that could still even go up. We will see how that goes. That is Ian O'Connor, sports columnist for the New York Post. Ian, always great insight. Always good to talk to you. Thank you.
My pleasure, Dexter.